Brothers and sisters, good evening and namaste. My name is Albert Baldeo. I'm a lawyer in the community and I'm an elected district leader. And one of my duties is that whenever someone of note passes or there's a celebration or there's a distinctive event in our community, then I have to attend. But my attendance here is not only from that perspective. I have known this gentleman, TULSINANDAN Mahadeo, since 1974 in Queen's College of Guyana. I went to school with his brother Kumar. We were in the same class. So TULSI Mahadeo, called Dennis, is like a brother to me also. But what distinguishes him so much is the context in which his life was lived and the battles he overcame and the challenges and the example he set. And I can truly tell you, I've been to hundreds of funerals and hundreds of events, but I've never been to one where a genius died, or a person that you can look up to and say, this is one of the most brilliant people that ever lived. And I don't say that lightly, because I did study with some of the finest in the world. Also, my brother, Dr. Philip BALDEO, is a doctor. My brother's an engineer. My sister is an educator. But when I tell you that this gentleman, TULSINANDAN, stands out like a beacon, head and shoulders above us, it's because of his academic brilliance. And there's an old saying that a person's life is not measured in the terms of how long he lives, but in what he achieves. And in every possible way, that is where he made his mark. And he made his mark at a time when we were looking for inspiration in Guyana. Remember, this was 1970s, where Guyana had just gotten independence, had just come from the British monarchy. We had to look to people like Cherry Jagan and people like ourselves to inspire us. And there's no secret that after that you had the Burnham regime, you had suppression, you had oppression. So more so, those who excelled and gave us that dream, those who gave us that example, will remain the heroes and champions that will always be in our lives. Now, very often people always celebrate people who have big houses, fancy cars, fancy businesses, and so forth. It is a problem in our society that we hardly ever treasure or pay tribute to the common folk who has entered or who has accomplished like what Tulsi has done. Because you will not see Tulsi on a big flash card or any big board or anything like that. But in his own way, he was better than those folks because of what he achieved. To achieve 7 A levels, just to let you know, that has never been done in Queen's College, or very hardly done. And when a person like him came from Guyana Oriental College as he did come from QC from first form. Me and Kumar were already in first form when he came in. He came in sixth form. And he defeated those expatriate children and all those fancy white boys and those people who came there and who were connected to rich people, chauffeur-driven and all those things. So his legacy in defining himself as a mathematical and physics genius was something that gave each of us, informs after him, the kinner, the belief, and the inspiration that we can also rise. And for that is a legacy that I've never seen. And like I said, I've been to a lot of funerals. I've never had that feeling. And I stood here with such a simple man. Coming over here, I also met him in New York, where he had also excelled. He continued to excel again and again and again until his untimely demise, where he became a professional engineer. To become a professional engineer in the United States is one of the hardest exams. To become the deputy chief of the Department of Civil the Design and Construction with the City of New York is also unique. The first Guyanese to have done so. So simple as he was, so sort of like unassuming, that people like with greatness like him walk so lightly that sometimes you wonder, my gosh, we really look at the wrong things in life when we don't give his jacket. Because folks like him should have streets named after him in Guyana because of what he achieved in his life, because of the circumstances which he overcome, because of the greatness in which he brought into his lives, and how he inspired others. And that is the real measure of a man's life. Once I walked in here tonight, I met a lot of folks. I met his wonderful 3 daughters, all brilliant. They have got the gene, also from their mother, Indira, of course. But I rather suspect it will also have come from Tulsi, in no small measure. And also, I've also met his brilliant family, gentleman from Wall Street, gentleman from MIT. He doesn't know, but people whisper to me, here's an MIT man walking in. Correct, sir? So you got people from Ivy League schools here. I've never gone to any funerals in this community and meet Ivy League folks like this. Because the patriarch of that family, the head of it, is this gentleman here who is going to rest. The genius, the man who has laid the example, the pioneer and the trailblazer. And for that, we owe him a lot. And he will never be forgotten. Long after Tulsi is gone, he will never be forgotten, because of what he inspired and what he inscribed in the annals of academic history that is unsurpassed, that will not be easily equaled. And I'm proud to have known him. I'm proud to have called him a friend. And I've always looked at him such a quiet man, and yet he used to write A-level exams when the white folks over there, those fancy Cambridge and Oxford folks, put out a bourse exam for you to go up to London and so on. He would do it for fun and pass it. He would ace them with A's. One person actually said he used to do them for a hobby. Unheard of. Such was the brilliance of this man. And as he dies, we're not here to mourn him, and as much as we're here to celebrate his life. And I tell his family, don't mourn for him. Celebrate his life, because his life is a blessing to us. He has left a rich example for all of us. And he's left a wonderful family with grandchildren and so forth. So in many ways, his life is full. And for that, we are eternally grateful to the Almighty. My brother, Dr. Philip Baldeo, and him also studied together in Guyana. And Philip went to become a doctor. He became an engineer. But my brother always told me that he was so brilliant that he couldn't even compete with someone like TULSI MAHADEO, because he was so brilliant. And I thank him very much, because he also was a great father to his children, a great husband. So in many ways, and all around his life, he excelled and he did what he had to do. And we're proud of him. I want to end my little speech with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. I was looking for a quotation to bring this moment to a position where we can all relate to. And there was no other greater Indian or person that ever lived than Mahatma Gandhi, of our heritage. And in the same context of Guyana, there is no greater person of Indian heritage than TULSI MAHADEO in the field of science, technology, and electronics, and all those difficult subjects that we run away from in school. He was a master of them. And Gandhi reminds us that, and I quote, "There's an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it though I do not see it. Whilst everything around me is ever changing, ever dying, there's underlying all that's changed a living power that is changeless, that holds all together, that creates, dissolves, and recreates. In the midst of death, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists. In the midst of darkness, light persists." So Gandhi was able to capture what we all yearn for. That is a triumph of light over darkness. And here we have someone who has pioneered, the patriarch of this great family, that share Ivy League folks are in this room, and many people of great Indian culture and heritage. In a sense, he is the patriarch of a large swath of Guyanese here. Little Guyana that defines us as a people. And as the elected district leader, I would like to say to the family that I give you my deepest sympathy. Be strong, be proud of your father. He is a unique person, a father and a grandfather that will always be respected, held in high esteem. There will always be whispers and unkind people, but at the end of the day, you have to look at a person in the fullness of his life. And no one has lived a greater life, academically, father-wise, or otherwise, than TULSI MAHADEO, called Dennis. And my great friend, may you rest in peace. Your work on earth is finished. And it seems that God has sent, you know, Jimmy Carter is going upstairs. So probably they want to have with Jimmy a very great physicist, scientist, researcher to go with the President of the United States. So they could not have chosen a better person than the Guyanese Prashad Nagar-born Tulsi Mahadeo. May God bless you, brothers and sisters, and let's continue to keep the faith and also to honor his legacy. Thank you very much. May God bless you all.